struck by Pedro. It's the late equaliser for Lazio. And there's the only goal. Sabiri with it. After 11 years, once again, Milan are the champions of Italy.
Ciao ragazzi, and welcome to Season 7 of Serie Sitdown. We are back. I'm Frank Crivello. He's Richard Carmen. Ciao, Richard.
Ciao, Frank. How are we doing, man? It's
I almost forgot what you looked like.
I almost forgot what I look like too. Honestly. But yeah. How are you doing? Good summer?
Good summer, man. Going by way too fast, though, as they all do. But
yeah, I had to take this jersey off for multiple reasons, right? One, Milan won the title, right? That's something new. But also, it's got the number 7 on the back for Shevchenko because this is our 7th season, Frank.
We've been 7 seasons, and we've done it the hard way.
Married couples. We've been together longest than married couples. So
I don't know what to say to that.
I don't either, but
So yeah, and we've done it the hard way, haven't we? Keep grinding it out, and we don't have some of the luxuries that some of these other folks do, but we do it because as long as you guys keep listening, we're going to keep doing this. So
we probably still do too. We just love talking. So
yeah, and that's just what's going to happen. We're going to get older. We're going to not have the podcast anymore at some point, and I'm just going to sit and talk to a wall about Serie.
I was going to say, just talk to ourselves, But
yeah, exactly, and see if the wall will talk back and say anything. So it is exciting to be back. It is exciting to get Serie back in our lives. The only thing is that it's just a couple weeks earlier than I'm comfortable with, and we've got this World Cup that Italy's not in. That
it's the middle of Christmas holidays. Come on.
Yep. We get jammed into this right away. Amar Bata's in the house. Thank you. Good to see you. If you are tuning into us here live on our YouTube channel for the first time, please hit the subscribe button, drop a like. Helps us out a lot. And if you're watching, please drop a note in the chat. Check in with us. Let's see who you are. So we're man, it's this last season ends, Milan win the title, we blink, and now another season. And it's just like, I do want to take you to task on something, though, with the new music in the background. How much did Jerry Mancini pay you to have the opening voiceover be a goal from Pedro for Lazio? That's what I want to know.
We have to fund our podcast somehow. We take all donations, all right?
Okay. So... And then we got Sabiri for Sampdoria, who, we're going to talk about a little bit. He's having himself a preseason, that's for sure.
Yeah,
so, that's right. We'll talk about them a little bit later on. So this is our preview della Madonnina. We are going to twist it up a little bit. Usually we've always brought in a guest. It's going to be Richard and I doing it this time. Usually we try to go through all these different, baseline topics, asking questions, making crazy predictions. But
so much to get into.
Yeah, there's so much to get into. Serie A has evolved so much. I mean, you had last year the title coming down to the last day. You have a summer where so many teams got better, or at least look like they've gotten better. So there is so much to talk about just on that front. So what we're going to do for you here on this preview, we're going to visit what has gone on in the mercato. Take a look at some of the things that might still be out there and might end up happening. We will actually look at this season team by team. We'll spend a couple minutes talking about each team, what we like, what we're worried about, if there's anything to worry about, and and go from there. We'll talk about the 3 promoted teams who are joining us: Monza, Cremonese, and Lecce. And then we'll give you some predictions here at the end for those who like predictions. We'll pick our Capocannoniere. We'll pick the 3 that we think are going to get relegated, and then we'll pick our top 4. And now, disclaimer, the mercato is not closed yet. We have a right to change these predictions. In fact, I did it last year. I went through a thread of once the window closed, that 20 down to 1, who the predictions were. And then we'll finish, obviously, with the world's most popular hashtag game, Who Won Calcio Twitter. It's been too long. And we are going to crown a summer champion because while we took a little bit of a siesta, if you will. Calcio Twitter did not.
No.
And we've got the tweets to prove it. So, but we've got all that going on. Richard, before we get into that, just how are things going with you? Life's good.
Life's good.
Number 2's on the way.
Number 2 is just about a month away. It's going to get hectic, even crazier for me. But things are good. Can't complain, honestly. Good summer overall. Lots going on. Like you said, Milan won. You blink your eye, and we're back here again. It's like no summer break for us.
Yep.
But yeah, no, life's good, man. How about you?
Oh, it's great. Kids are growing up. They're getting into all kinds of different things. Got to play a lot of golf this summer. And still got a lot more golf to play. I've got a couple more outings left in league and all that other stuff. So trying to jam all this in. I had Milan Weekly Podcast wanted me to come on, and Vinny and Steve, good, looking forward to checking in and getting with you guys again. I think Vinny wanted me to come and do a podcast on a Monday in the summer, and I said, "What are you nuts?" I said, "I golf on Monday nights in the summer."
Oh, you didn't hear that podcast that I actually filled in for you. And
did you?
I should have listened to it because I kind of got payback for what you and Stevie said when I wasn't on the podcast, so it worked out.
Which episode is this? Because now I'm gonna have to go back and watch.
Well, man, it was about a month ago, a couple weeks ago. I don't know. I'll let you know. I'll find that out for you.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch because I can't be insulted if I didn't hear what happened. So
fair enough. That's right. I'll find it for you.
Ricky, good to see you, man.
Yes,
we'll have you on real soon
yes,
to talk a little Inter. So keep up the good work that you're doing. We will. Let's just dive into this. It ended with Milan winning the title last season. And then we get into the mercato, and so many things happen. Rumors about players. I mean, the volatility with the transfer market was just insane. Throughout the summer, the players that arrived, the players that are rumored to arrive, the players that were thought to arrive but didn't.
Milan have new owners.
Yeah, and that is my bone to pick with Milan Twitter, because it is a large reason why I was pretty scarce on Twitter. I got so tired of the pissing and moaning from Milan Twitter about the lack of transfer activity in the summer. Do you not realize, and here we go, don't I do this? I have to do this all the time. I have to hold their hand and walk them through life. I feel like I'm like their babysitter or something like that. But they had an ownership change at the end of the last season. Maldini and Masada weren't even under contract. Who are you going to go out to recruit? You're going to go out to recruit players in a mercato without a contract. Maldini and Masada aren't going to work for, as much as Maldini loves Milan, he's not going to work for free. Okay. So that all had to get taken care of first. So they're behind. They did have Origi come in for free. That was discussed. Adli came back from loan. Pobega came back from loan. And now finally the deal that we thought might not get done finally got done. Charles de Ketelaere coming to the Rossoneri. So, eventually this stuff catches up. I mean, sorry that these guys don't come in when you want them. It's just, it's got to remember this is a business, and one that you shouldn't be offended or disappointed by.
Yeah, it's funny too, because like people are like, as soon as they heard Redbird took over, they're like, all right, let's just start spending. It's like, that's not how it works. Like, this is not how the real world. This is not FIFA. You don't just go and buy games. Football Manager 2022. You don't just go and buy players at will. That's not how it works. First, like you said, the contracts for both Ricky Masada and Paolo Maldini had to be obtained. They were free agents basically, and so you secure that. Then you start making the moves, and yeah, they're taking their sweet time. But Paolo and Ricky, they're not going to bend over and overpay for somebody. They've never done that. They've always taken their time, talked to teams, to a lower price, which is more reasonable. And granted, in this case, at least with the Ketelaere, Bruges got what they wanted, but it was a reasonable offer, I think, that they got. And this is how it works, and this is what you're going to expect with this. This is a different regime than we had before. So,
I don't want to have a good time and find love right now. Okay, so we've got bots, so we're going to need to get rid of them. So Richard's good at showing them the door. So thank you.
Sayonara.
Oh man. So let's hope that doesn't be that's not a habit. So we'll just
Thank you, Redbird. All the bots.
Yep, that's what came. The bots came from Redbird. Okay. So, um, so the mercato in general. I mean, so many arrivals, so many departures. You know, let's start with the ones on the way out.
Right.
So that we don't have a chance. Give me 3 players that are not in Serie A this upcoming season that you're going to miss from what you saw last season.
Well, obviously, the two big standouts are going to be Kalidou Koulibaly, one of the best
Yep.
defenders in the world, and Matthias
Yep.
de Ligt, one of the up-and-coming youngster defenders in the world. Outside of that, Alvaro Morata, say what you want to say about him. He's going to Spain. He's obviously still doing well because he had a hat trick today against Juventus for Atleti Madrid. So, I mean, I like seeing him in the league because he is, say what you want to say about Morata. He is a poacher. He can score goals. He's versatile. He can play not only the all-alone striker, he can be on the wings as well and play in. He's got good passing ability, good header ability, good overall striker. So, I mean, those are probably 3 that stand out for me. And obviously the 2 defenders stick out more for me than anything else. Kalidou Koulibaly is two different, ends of the spectrum with these 2 defenders, right? Kalidou Koulibaly's had a long, illustrious career with Napoli. And now he wants to try, go into England and try his trade over there. And I can't blame him for that. He held out for as long as he could, and he felt this is the right time to move on. And Napoli got some money out of it. So, you can't be bad about that. And Napoli seemed to be doing well recovering from that. And then de Ligt, he's a youngster still. He's thriving to be one of the world's best. That's his ambition. And so, you take the next step, you keep going up and you go to bigger and bigger teams. Not to say that, Bayern is that much bigger than Juventus, but, it's a lot more attention. Bayern are constantly in the deep rounds of Champions League. They're always winning titles like Juventus, right? So, yeah, different ambitions for each of these players, but I can't fault either of them for going, honestly, and Morata as well. So, yeah, it's sad to see them go. It's bad for the league because, talented players are leaving. You want to have the best players in the world here, like it was in the 90s. But what are you gonna do? You can't keep them all. What about you?
You can't keep them all. I mean, I'm with you on Koulibaly. And I'll just speak for the sake of getting different. We'll talk about de Ligt here afterward. But for the sake of getting different, Gianluca Scamacca leaving and going to West Ham United, I would like to have seen him continue his career in Serie A.
Yeah.
I don't like the fit with Antonio still there. The way that Moyes might have West Ham United play, I don't know if it completely suits what Scamacca is all about. And Gianluca Scamacca was a guy that I was probably looking at as taking over as Italy's striker here in the national team setup. And I think that a move to West Ham United curbs his upside. How much is he going to play? He's going to be battling for time with Antonio unless West Ham knows something we don't and they're moving Antonio, which who knows. But that one was a little disappointed with. I would have liked to have seen Scamacca stay in Serie A, but at the same time, you've got to ask the question, where would he have gone? Milan don't really need a striker. They seem to be happy with Giroud. Origi comes in for free. Rebic can play strikers. Zlatan and what's left of him will probably be around, towards the end of the season. Inter are loaded at the position. Napoli seem content with who they've got with Osimhen, and I think the Raspadori deal might still be on the table. So Roma seem ready to go with Abraham and Belotti. We'll talk about all of these guys. So where does he go? And where would he have fit? It would have been a lateral move at best. So it's okay. Try the Premier League. I think that maybe being a striker at PSG, because that was rumored earlier in the summer, that would have been an interesting fit to see how that would have worked. But just to be different, I'll say him. I'll say Koulibaly, and I think another one that I'll just say, under the radar, and I'll before I get to my third one, I'll talk about what Anthony's saying, missing Dries Mertens and what he meant to Napoli, and a one-time Serie A sit-down player of the season. In one of our early years, of doing this and heading off to Galatasaray, and what he meant for Napoli and what Napoli meant for him. it's an excellent point there, Anthony. But I'll also throw in Nahuel Molina of Udinese going to Atletico Madrid. I think that one is one that people look at and shrug their shoulders, but I think they're going to find out how underrated he was, because he was playing for Udinese, and now it's another young talent that is leaving Serie A and is heading to another country and heading to a place like Atletico Madrid. And Udinese were, if I were the Pozzos, I would have done the same thing. I would have cashed in on him too if Atletico Madrid came calling. I mean, good set piece guy, good crosser, good technique. Yeah. Can create, can score on his own. He does a lot of those things. So Molina going is another one for me, and just for the sake of getting different. Now, coming back to Ligt, I think the only thing I'd miss about him is that the only thing I would probably miss about him is that there's still a lot of career left with him, and to see what he would have evolved to be as a defender at Juventus and in that setup and under Allegri's tactics. But the time up until that point, I'm not. I don't think he was good. I don't think he was bad. I wasn't. There wasn't a wow factor for me with what he probably should have provided. With the hype that came along with him, with coming along. I'm probably more excited for if I'm a Juve fan. I'm probably more excited about Bremer being there.
I thought you were going to say Pogba.
Yeah, and what he's going to do. But De Ligt, I guess I just wasn't wowed. There were good games. There were not so good games. There was definitely improvement in his last season at Juventus, but just examining the overall body of work, it's hard for me to. If Bayern came along and offered me $73 million, I would have signed off for that in a heartbeat.
Right? Yeah. No, you can't blame Juventus for taking that money either. I mean, anybody be foolish, especially in Serie A, to be giving up that kind of money. So, but I think De Ligt's time at Juventus is a lot better than people are saying, including you. Obviously, the wow factor that we got when he was at Ajax, it's hard to equate to that, right? It's hard to compete with that unless he came up, took the reins at Juventus from, Chiellini and Bonucci and those guys and became maybe a captain. That's the only way it would be a wow factor. You could really take it. But honestly, I think he was decent. He provided attacking threat on set pieces and stuff like that. He was very good in the air. Defensively, he was okay. Yes, he had some terrible mistakes, a lot of red cards, a lot of, double yellows. Like you said, there was some good, there's some bad in there. But I think overall, I thought, Juventus tried to bring him on slowly. They didn't want to bring in somebody, especially at the price they paid, and risk him going to crap right away. They wanted to slowly bring him in. Plus, they already had Chiellini. They had Bonucci in there, some stalwarts that he could learn from. So they took their time with him. So that, the early, obviously you're going to get a little bit of rust, not playing as much. And talking about De Ligt here, but as more time he got, I thought he did improve, as you mentioned. And I think, overall, I think it was fine. I think he was, through his time there, I thought he was the best defender on the pitch. I know probably Juventini don't agree with me, but that's how I felt when I watched him. And granted, I don't watch, day in and day out, I watch the practice and all that, but the potential he has is always there, and you're waiting to see, is he going to get it? His comments that he said when he arrived at Bayern were a little odd to me, because he talked about playing offensively and he's a defender, but that notwithstanding, I think his time overall at Juventus was a success. Is it $80 million worth successful? Probably not. But I think, it was a good time. Was it a flop? Absolutely not. Anyone says he's a flop, I think they need to, reevaluate how his time was there. But yeah, I think it was good. And you are going to miss a defender like him. Now, they got Bremer on the backside. That's a good person to make up with, probably an upgrade, assuming he continue his fine form. But I think De Ligt's going to be missed. And I think he was a quality defender, and I think he still will do some magical things on the world stage, but to be determined. And I think Juventini ultimately at the end of his career will be like, okay, we're glad we had him, as opposed to, why do we spend that money?
Sure. Yeah, it's up for debate what De Ligt really meant to Juventus, in his time there. So it'd be interesting to hear what people have to say about that. So I'm as for the I have my perfect match. I've had my perfect match for 14 years. So, boy, they don't. They're relentless, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, there's another one.
Yeah.
So,
Don't get him off.
all right. So players that we're excited to see. Um, I mean, Decathlon notwithstanding,
Yeah.
because that's an obvious one. And this is where I want to try to dive a little bit deeper. I'm going to start with Augustin Alvarez going to Sassuolo.
Okay.
The striker who will eventually step in for Scamacca. Sassuolo seem to have this habit of, okay, they cash in on a guy, they find the right guy to go in and replace him. Okay, last year they sell Locatelli, they bring in Fratesi. Didn't look like they missed much. This year Scamacca's gone, Alvarez comes in. Alvarez already has a couple of goals here in preseason. In 2021 with Peñarol, that's where he's coming from. He's Uruguayan international. In 39 appearances, he scored 23 goals. With the setup that Sassuolo have, and if Raspadori does go, and there's still talk that he could go to Napoli. I don't know if that's going to end up happening or not. I usually want strikers to just have that grace period for first season, and they're not going to be, they're going to struggle. You got to adapt, new country, lots going with that. Excuse me, but in this case, with how Sassuolo are set up, how they play, the service that he can get, 15 goal upside's not out of the question for Augustin Alvarez.
Sure.
At Sassuolo. And 15 might be on the high side, but I won't rule it out because I've seen, because there's evidence that he's done it before. I don't want to talk about the retreads like Lukaku back to Inter or Pogba back to Juventus. I think that those are going without saying. Jorginho Wijnaldum going to Roma. That is a quintessential Jose Mourinho player.
Yep.
And is going to be a perfect fit in that midfield, coming in on loan from PSG. Really love to get there. Does so much, can win the ball, can pass, can score. Better know where he is on free kicks. There's a lot that he can offer that Roma team, and a guy that can just back up the combination of him and Matic. Possibly playing, and then you've got Pellegrini, and you've got Dybala, and you've got some of these guys that are going to be going forward. Who knows if Zaniolo stays or not? We're going to have a lot to say about Roma here in the preview, as everybody has been, and rightfully so. But that's another one. And the third one that I will give you is Ademola Lookman going to Atalanta. I think that's a perfect fit for the way Atalanta play. Gasparini always seems to interchange that front three in his 3-4. It's a 3-4-2-1 at times. It's a 3-4-1-2. Lookman can play off of striker. He can play wide. He can, play behind and next to someone like a Malinovsky. There's so many ways that fit. So for me, taking away the retreads, taking away an obvious one like the Ketelar, the three that I'm excited to watch and see what they do. Alvarez at Sassuolo, Wijnaldum at Roma, and Lookman at Atalanta.
Good shouts. Those are all good shouts. I'm going to go over to Fiorentina. Luka Jovic.
Yes.
Excuse me. Jovic. It is Jovic. I'm thinking of basketball here. We've been watching him for a long time, not only with Real Madrid, but also in his Frankfurt days. He's a good little player, good striker. Didn't do so well at Real Madrid. Not many people, can shine in the limelight there, but he's a good player still. I think Milan were after him for a while, and several Serie A clubs are going up for him. But Fiorentina, they pick him up. They had Cabral last year, and it was okay once they lost Vlahovic, and they got Piontek as well. But it wasn't. They still need that bang, and I think Luka Jovic, he can do some things under Vincenzo Italiano, and I think this is a sneaky good pick by Fiorentina that's going to help them do well this year. I really want to see how this guy does. I'm really going to follow them closely. Let's see what else. Some other moves. I do like Angel Di Maria. Say what you will about him. He's 31 years old. Yes, but and Juventini, don't shoot me, or Dybala lovers, don't shoot me. I think this is an upgrade from Dybala. I honestly do, because Angel Di Maria has done it on the big stage. Dybala has never really shown in those big games, and we've harped about this for years with Dybala. And Angel Di Maria usually plays better in the big games. He's very fast still at his age. He can still put the ball in the back of the net. His vision is very good. I think him on the right with Chiesa on the left, and then and the big man up top. This is going to be a very dangerous Juventus offensively, and so Di Maria is going to bring something very special for them. Now, is the midfield any better? We'll see. But I love the Angel Di Maria pick, and I think he's going to do very well at Juventus. Allegri was notwithstanding. And then let me see who I can pick here. I guess he joined in the summer. The new young Georgian from Napoli, Kavica.
Yes.
So good.
Kvaratskhelia.
Yeah.
Yes.
I watched him in international games. I watched him some other games as well, and he is just so fun to watch. I mean, from entertainment standpoint, I think he's just going to be one of the players to watch this season. And if he can hit the ground running in Serie A, it's harder in a tactical league. Look out, because this guy has a talent, and I will really want to see what this kid can do if he gets his feet under him in Serie A. So,
yep. Boy, they're relentless. There they are again.
That's all right. Let's keep going.
All right. Phil B. Yeah, I'm with you. Do you see how quick they took that down?
I did that.
When it got called out?
Oh, no. I didn't see that. No, I didn't see that.
Oh, the guys in New York, those guys in New York, I think had something like a week away or something, 10 days away from the start of Serie A or something like that. And it was a gif of Jurgen Klopp celebrating. Way to lead the way for us on this side of the pond, right? I didn't want to. I for one didn't let that go.
Jurgen de Cremonese. Here we go.
Yep, there you go. It would be like if Pep Guardiola wants to go coach Brescia someday. He's never coaching Brescia. Not unless
I believe that more than Klopp at Cremonese, though.
I do too. So, so who knows? But anyway, it was not very smart. On their part. I mean, those are 6 great players we just talked about. I mean, they're just scratching the surface of some of the moves. It's, Di Maria, Kvaratskhelia, Jovic, Lookman, Alvarez, and Wijnaldum. So, just, some of the new arrivals. And that's, of course, we're talking about, these are names we're coming out. I mean, obviously, as Milan fans, we're very excited about Charles de Ketelaere. Yeah. There's, I'm not going to get overly excited about what I watched in the few minutes at the end of a 6-1 win or what he did in a 7-1 scrimmage today. That's great. Bring it against Udinese on Saturday. So, against an Udinese team that has given Milan fits, over the last couple of years and have given Milan frustrations, that would be, where you'll grab my attention. But I'm excited about what he can be. As well. So plenty to get excited. Tell us who you're excited about, new arrivals coming in to Serie A from other clubs. At Serie A Sitdown on Twitter or Instagram. Give us your comments there and let us know. So let's go further. Now we get into the preview. We look ahead now, 2022, 2023. And why not start, Richard, other than the champions themselves, Milan? Ownership, and I believe as alluded to earlier in the chat, Redbird officially owns Milan in September. See, I don't even know who they are.
Mysterious.
And, Elliott is technically still the majority owner of Milan at the moment. Departures, Kessie leaving for Barcelona. Let's take a look here. I should have this scrolled up. Give me a second. I mean, the key departures really are Franck Kessie, and that's it. I mean, Samu Castillejo, okay, fine, big deal. Hardly played. Daniel Maldini's going on loan to Spezia.
Yep.
So not a whole lot gets lost, and then the arrivals of De Ketelaere, Florenzi being on permanently, Junior Messias being on permanently, Divock Origi coming in for free from Liverpool. And let's face it, with the forwards that they have at Liverpool, it's really, really easy to be surplus there.
Yeah.
Origi didn't become a bad player. He just it's just so many damn good
Hey, but we were
forwards over
just talking about Klopp, and Klopp was rated Origi very highly there. He was very professional, did the job. He scored goals when he was asked to come in, so, Origi is a good player. Do I think he's a starting striker? No. But I think he's a good player still. He has some time. He's got some speed and some pace. So, the possibility of Origi on the right and Leao. We are rusty, aren't we? Leao on the left. That is two speedy wingers on the side there. So, I mean, yeah, no, it's,
lost Romagnoli too, excuse me.
Lazio.
So to Lazio. But okay. Are they going to repeat? Because I think now there are bigger aspirations for them. Okay, they're going to be a seeded team in the Champions League draw. It's not likely they're going to have the brutality of the group that they played in last year, which when that group came out, I said right away, they're finishing fourth. I said, I don't see them getting out of this. I ended up being very impressed with how competitive they were in each of the games, especially the ones that they lost in, that they had chances in all of them. So that aside, how much confidence do you have that Milan go back-to-back this season?
I mean, a lot to be determined here in the mercato. As of right now, I think they have a fighter's chance because some teams around him have gotten a lot better. But who did Milan really lose? They won last year with Salsiccia Maker and Junior Messias on the right-hand side, and Brahim Diaz really providing no 10, output there. And they still won the title. And they just added a couple youngsters there. Adley's in there as well. They got a fighter's chance. I'm not saying they're gonna be out and out favorites or they're not gonna win the title. I think they have it. They're gonna be in the fight, in the discussion. We'll see how the mercato goes, but as of right now, they're just as good a chance as anybody else in the league. What do you think?
I don't think they'll repeat. I'm not going to pick them to repeat, and and that's not because I'm pessimistic about their chances. It's because I think, to your point, I think everybody else is better. And I think that they're going to do – I could see them making more of a thing of Champions League this season with chances to go through and go a little bit deeper. I think, the last two seasons, the Serie A winner benefited from luxury of going out of Europe altogether after the group stage and having that reduction of fixtures and having the ability to just, focus on the league. Milan last season and then Inter the season before that. So – I see them wanting to make more of a presence in the Champions League because I think when you look at Milan historically, they've won the European Cup 7 times. So it's they're better. I think they're improved. Adley can play in that double pivot, or he can be a 10.
Yeah,
De Ketelaere can be a 10, can play on the right.
Obega, he hop in the midfield.
Yep. And I don't think that it's a total loss that they didn't get Botman and that Botman ended up going to Newcastle United. It's like, why break up what's working in that defense? And you bring in a player like Kjaer who knows what the expectations are, who, recovers from injury. There's that. The only thing, the guy that scares me if he ends up having to get regular playing time is Matteo Gabbia. We'll see, unless Pioli has gotten to a point where he is confident in his maturity. And we haven't even talked about Tommaso Pobega coming back from loan, and now having a regular role. So they got a healthy rotation of midfielders. They've got Benacer there still. Tonali
just still there.
Yep. And Martino Puccio made an excellent point. Don't sleep on Rade Krunic as a defensive midfielder in the double pivot. He's serviceable when he's asked to play that role.
Versatile.
They've got role players. They've got guys that they depend on. There's a style that they play. They've been very successful in preseason, and I don't take a whole lot of stock into preseason results, but when I look at the better players out there and when they're hammering Wolfsburg and then they're going to Marseille and beating Marseille, those are confidence building results to help build your campaign. So I think that when I finally do these predictions after the mercato closes, I'm not going to predict them to win the title, but they are going to be a major influence on this, and they're going to be in this for a very long period of time.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how the mercato goes, but as of right now, they are not my top pick to win a Scudetto. As of right now, but things could change. A lot can happen here in the mercato. We'll see. Maybe we're both picking Cremonese. Who knows?
Okay,
Unlikely, but who knows?
okay, same city, different team. Inter with Juventus making waves, getting Di Maria, Pogba, Bremer. Okay, Inter set the tone early in the mercato, getting Lukaku back, getting Bellanova, getting Aslani. Who are the other guys that they also signed? I'm leaving one out. Mkhitaryan and then Onana.
Yep.
Coming over from Ajax, who presumably will be the starting goalkeeper now.
You say Bellanova too?
Yeah, I did say Bellanova. Yep. So they reloaded, and it's with what Juventus have done and with what Roma have done, and now Milan adding De Ketelaere, it's like Inter all of a sudden went from people were all gawking over what they were doing in the mercato to now they're flying under the radar.
Yeah.
And I think that makes them really dangerous.
Was that Inter who lost to Valencia the other day? This weekend, 4-2?
No. Was it somebody lost to Villarreal 4-2?
Villarreal. It was Inter. It was Inter.
Was it Inter?
Yeah, it was a V team. They're flying under the radar. They shouldn't be. Inter fans will tell you Lukaku's back. We're back to scoring goals left and right. Maybe. That's to be determined. Can he do it? Absolutely, he can. It's a different manager, different style of play. You still have most of the same players that he played with before, granted, but he struggled at Chelsea. Didn't get much playing time. Maybe that skill set that he had when he was top notch when he went there needs some time to get back to the level. I need to be convinced that he's the same Lukaku from before. Is he capable of doing it? Yes. And if he is that same player, look out. Inter are a serious threat to take the title. And not that they're not anyway, but people who want to say that Lukaku is back and they're going to win the titles, like slow your roll. I like the Henrik Mkhitaryan move. He's a fantastic player. He will do really, really well under Inzaghi. Bellanova, excited to see him there. Aslani, that's a fantastic player as well. Yeah, they lost some players to be determined what happens with Skriniar, right? But they got rid of a lot of dead weight on the team. They got a lot of some talent too, right? Perisic is gone, no longer. He's no longer there. We'll see what happens with also Bastoni. They talk about Bastoni as well, but I think Inter's, like you said, flying under the radar. Don't count them out. They're still going to be in the mix. They're Inter. They're strong. They're very strong.
Where does Mkhitaryan fit in this team? That's the question that I have. You can't put him at wing back. I mean, you're going to have Gozens and Dumfries as your wing back.
Yeah.
There's talk that Dumfries could go to Chelsea, but I don't think that's happening anymore. And there's, is he part of the three-man midfield? Do you have him in with a different skill set to give a different look that he's in when Çalhanoğlu's not in? That's the only way I can see it. Because I don't think he's a Barella.
No.
And I don't think that he's someone like Aslani.
No.
Or any of those players. So I struggle with this. I struggle with what his role is going to be. That's the biggest question I have out of the new signings is what is Mkhitaryan? What are you doing with him? And then you have, he's not a Brozovic. So I'm curious to see, what the fit is with him. If he's probably a second striker, but then you get, Correa's there. So that's the only one. But, other than that, when I look at this Inter team, they're better. They're a favorite for the title, rightfully so. They're in the conversation for sure. And I think they've kind of become not necessarily an afterthought, but they have definitely been kind of disrespected here recently. And I think that a lot of that is because of the arrival of De Ketelaere, the hype with Roma, and some of these other teams. And and I think if you're an Inter supporter, you're very, very happy about this. And you're saying, yeah, don't talk about us.
Yeah. Let them work out their kinks. And then when they get in full stride, look out, right? And they say, oh, I told you so. I agree with Phil's comment, about the Barella. you're not going to replace Barella, and he needs to return to his form in 2020. Because last year wasn't the best Barella that we saw. And granted, he played a ton of games, so he's probably tired, but he needs to get back. I think Mkhitaryan is better than Çalhanoğlu. However, Çalhanoğlu brings in something that I think Mkhitaryan can't bring. He has that set piece ability, the shooting from distance ability.
Mm-hmm.
His work rate's pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Çalhanoğlu's work rate's pretty good.
Yeah.
But Mkhitaryan is a playmaker, and I think he has to be a bench player and has to be a change of pace for when Çalhanoğlu gets tired, maybe a Barella or something like that, because I think that midfield three is pretty set, honestly. Brozovic is Brozovic. He'll do well in big games. Does he still have the legs? I imagine he will, but prove it to me that he doesn't. Barella needs to return to that form, yes, and Çalhanoğlu, you would imagine, would improve in another season under Inzaghi. So yeah, right now he's a bench player for me, and I think, like you said, Inter are a good team, and don't discount them. Anyone who's discounting them are going to be for rude awakening when they're in this thing late in the season. So yeah, don't forget about Inter.
Okay. I think you and I are going to have differing opinions about this next one.
Okay.
Napoli.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the floor. You said some interesting things to me before the show. So state the case for why they could be a thing this year.
Yeah. I like Napoli. I think they've been doing a sneaky good job this off season. Yes, they lost Kalidou Koulibaly. It hurts to lose a worldie like him, but they're bringing in this guy from Fenerbahce, Kim, and from what I've seen, I like him. Is he going to be Koulibaly? No, but he's going to be a solid defender, and they need some solid defenders back there. Ostergaard is a good pickup there. Obviously, they got Ingisa, but this guy Kavica, I really like this kid, man. I think from what I've seen him with Napoli and also with Georgia and his previous team, he is tricky. He's hard to handle. And I think, Napoli, yeah, they lost Dries Mertens. Yeah, they lost Insigne. But their striker, Osimhen, he's still there. They got the midfield there. Now, we'll see if Fabian Ruiz goes to PSG or not. If he goes, it'll hurt. But they still got Lobotka. They still got so many midfielders there. They got, what's his name? Number 7. I can't. I'm drawing a blank right now. But they got a lot of good players on their team. They still need some help on defensively, I think. Maybe Di Lorenzo is going to be the captain this year. But the left side, is Mario Rui the guy? I don't know. The goalkeeper situation, we'll see how that pans out. But I like Napoli, man. I think people are sleeping on Napoli because they're not making the big old signings that everyone else is doing. Obviously, Roma, they get deserved attention because they're getting all these players. But a lot of these teams are, they're making moves here and there. And Napoli just quietly under the radar making these quiet moves. And I think they're a solid team. And they're going to be in the Scudetto hunt this year. I don't know if they're going to be quite at the top, but maybe they are. We'll see how they gel together. I think Osimhen is primed for a big season. If he can stay healthy, this team can be very, very dangerous. And they were last year, even when he was injured. So I like Napoli a lot.
You don't get better losing someone like Koulibaly. You don't get better losing some of the nucleus that has been the heart of your team, if you will. Now, they've gone unbeaten here in preseason, but they drew Mallorca, they beat Girona, they drew Espanyol. And you got to do a deep dive into these things and see what the lineups look like and things like that. Now, there needs to be, for me, there needs to be an exponentially higher level of trust in Piotr Zielinski if this is going to work as a 10 in a playmaking role. Kavica, we've talked about, an exciting player, a lot of interest in him. If you lose Ruiz, that's another huge blow. And I'll go so far to say Ospina had a ton of experience back there too as a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Merit could give you a blunder here and there. And I don't know. I think that Napoli are going to fall behind very early in the season because they have a lot of pieces that are new that are going to have to try to figure it out. And I think it's going to be a struggle. They've got Champions League in addition that they're going to have to navigate through, which I think they're going to struggle through that. And I think that there's going to be a lot of damage done through the first third to nearly half of the season, where it's going to be hard for them to mount a top 4 challenge again. I think they're still a decent side, but I could see a very early, an early struggle for them. Despite some of the players and some of the things that you say. So this is one where we're disagreeing on. I'm downgrading Napoli a little bit now. If they take this Ruiz money and this Koulibaly money and they get a couple guys in there that I look at, then my mind might change. But at the moment, Kvicha looks good. I'm interested in what he's going to be able to do. It should mean Ruiz's departure should mean a more expanded role for Zielinski. At least there better be. Yeah. The other thing that needs to be addressed is, have Napoli really gotten better at fullback?
Yeah.
You still got Di Lorenzo there, but they're signing Matias Oliveira from Getafe. Decent player. They brought him in. So apparently, and with him, with Mario Rui there, so it's hard for me, but it's hard for me to get excited about Napoli, at least through the first third of the season. This is going to be one of those teams that we're going to be excited about the last, if Spalletti keeps the job throughout the season too.
There's also rumors too that not only Raspadori coming to Napoli, but also possibly Giovanni Simeone. He would be an upgrade from the big man who eats pies. If they were to happen, but it hasn't happened yet, so it's still time will tell. But if they both they both come to Napoli, that'd be two big signings there. Granted, midfield might be clogged down with all the talent they have, but having a backup striker to Osimhen or possibly a partnership there, that could be something very special.
That's a lot of strikers, though, and in a system where Spalletti just likes to play with one. We'll see. I mean, I right now can't get fired up about Napoli's prospects. If Spalletti is there at the end of the season and there's a season 3 for him at Napoli, it's because they went on a tear over the last 8 to 10 matches, maybe just came up short of the top 4, but all those pieces finally came together. They played well. They mounted a charge, and it's momentum going into 23-24. Okay.
Out of your top 4. Okay.
But they're going. Yeah, it's momentum going into the 23-24 season. I don't have Napoli top 4.
Okay.
And I think when the window closes, I'm probably not going to have them top 4.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
You're higher on them than I am, and that's just it's what it is. So
it is what it is.
We're going to get into these conversations. It's going to be interesting. Now, moving on to the old lady, Juventus. 4th last season, 70 points, 57 goals, 37 against. Things have certainly gotten different. Bremer, who we thought was the best defender last season in Serie A, he's there. Paul Pogba on a free. Angel Di Maria on a free. De Ligt gone. Mandragora gone. Dybala gone. Bernardeschi gone. Chiellini gone. So I have a lot of interest in this Juve team.
Okay.
I when Chiesa gets healthy, and you made the point earlier, a front 3 of Chiesa, Vlahovic, and Di Maria could be as devastating as any in Serie A.
Possibly Europe.
Possibly, yeah. You could certainly make that argument. Two things that I think hold them back. I don't think the midfield's better. Okay, I don't think you get better by bringing back Paul Pogba. This is not Pogba that you had the first time around, who, a few years ago during the lockdown, Phil Shane came on and did the podcast with us, and he and I talked about if Paul Pogba came back, and why was he so good the first time around at Juve. Look who he played with. He played with Pirlo, he played with the BBC and Buffon and Vidal, and he was in an environment where all he had to do was play. And when he's in an environment where all he has to do is play, he is one of the best midfielders in the world. Okay, France national team. He just has to show up and play. The leadership is taken care of by everybody else. Okay, but when he went to Manchester United, they wanted him to be the man, and he did not live up to that. He's coming back to an environment where he's going to be the man of this midfield, and I don't know if it's going to work. It's not the same environment for him, that made him the $97 million man that he was back, when he left the first time around.
Yeah.
So that's one concern. The second concern I have is Allegri. I think he has a stubborn way of playing football. I think it restricts creative players, and it makes it very hard for me to get. On the one end, I want to look at this roster and say there's a decent chance this team gets back to what it used to be. But at the same time, I also look at it and saying that manager there is going to keep it from happening. They're still going to go back to some of the Stone Age things. I just don't think Allegri can let go, and that's where I'm at with Juventus. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much right there with you, right? Attack, this is going to be a phenomenal attack, honestly. When Chiesa comes back, and if he's back to anything resembling that Euro 2020 run by the Azzurri, this is going to be something special for the attack. But you don't just win with attackers. I think this midfield has not improved. I don't. I think they pretty much stayed on level what they were last year at best. And defensively, you lost Ligt and you got Bremer, so that's an upgrade. But Bonucci's another year older. Your wing backs were okay. You're gonna play Quadrado in the right wing again, right back. Like who are you gonna have there? I mean, they got some youngsters they could probably put in there, and they may do the job. But honestly, outside of the attack, I'm not really impressed with this Juventus team. And I know a lot of people are flying high in them. They got Pogba, they got Di Maria, they're gonna win the Scudetto. I'm not so sure. I think they have a long way to go. And the one thing we kept driving up people's throat, Cliff came on here, said the same thing. The midfield needs to get better. It hasn't. Their defense has got to get better. Yes, Bremer's an upgrade, but the rest of the defense is not. It's an older defense, and they need some upgrades. And the goalkeepers are solid. But yeah, I'm far from convinced that Juve is going to be the team that's the team to beat. They're not a favorite for me. But this attacking team could drag them a long way. Will Allegri allow them to be creative? To your point, they may, Allegri notwithstanding, they may just do enough individual that they can score some goals. But I don't know. We'll see. A lot to be determined. Allegri, a lot is on the line with him. If he struggles in the first half of the season, maybe they'll get rid of him. Juventus typically doesn't do that, but
no,
you never know. But I don't see a Scudetto in the future for Juventus this season.
With you, I'm playing around with who my top four is going to be and what order I'm going to put them in, and I'm just struggling to. I've got them top four. I think they're going to finish. I think they're going to finish top four. They're going to find a way to get there, and I think that's just despite the other teams around them. That while they've gotten better, I think Juventus has enough of a solidity that they're going to get there.
You think the other teams will cannibalize each other, or will have enough lapses in judgment that Juventus will stay steady?
Yes. And I think that there's some of these managers and some of these teams that Allegri is just going to out tactic. And I think that's going to help get Juventus there in the end. So, I think we're in agreement that we don't think there's a Scudetto for them here. But there is certainly a chance now. But top four is fine. It's a reasonable expectation. I think they're going to do it again. I don't have a whole, and we're going to have to see what their Champions League groups is going to look like before we can pass judgment on what they're going to do there. Yeah. So, okay, Lazio. We're getting into the city of Rome now. We're going to start with Lazio first, though, Richard. We'll save the more intriguing one here for last. Right. Okay, so arrivals for Lazio. Luis Maximiano, goalkeeper from Granada. He's been starting. Every indication he's probably going to play. Marcos Antonio coming over from Shot. I like Marcos Antonio a lot. That's another one we didn't talk about. Yeah. Getting Matias Vecino on a free, getting Alessio Romagnoli on a free out. Marici experiment just failed on all levels. They couldn't be happier to get Strakosha out the door, I'm thinking. At least if you talk to Laziali, they would tell you that. Lucas Leiva, they probably couldn't be happier to get out the door. The way that happened, he's in Brazil now playing for Grêmio. So some tweaks here at Lazio for a team that finished fifth last season. But given, I think with Lazio, I think they're going to be, and that is if Milinkovic-Savic stays. There's still talk that Juve may grab him. And that blows this whole conversation up if that happens, by the way.
Yes.
But looking at Lazio right now, looking at what Marcos Antonio to me is the perfect Maurizio Sarri midfielder because there's so much he can do.
Yeah.
Box to box, a lot of skill, a lot of technique, creativity. He's got a locker full of talent. These guys that come from Shakhtar all do. Yeah. So tell me about Lazio. I think fifth is lofty. I don't think there's top four for them, and I don't think fifth. I don't think they're doing fifth again. I do think a low-end European place certainly will happen for them, unless you think they're better with the reinforcements that have come in.
Scudetto. No, I was kidding. I think this team has improved, not necessarily with the players on the pitch, but I think it's another year under Sarri. And Sarri's teams, his tactics are very technical. You need some time to get up to speed of what he wants. And I think most of the players that remain will get that up to speed. And some of these new players like Antonio, like you mentioned, will do well there. I think it's like you said, it's a Sarri guy. So I think Lazio will be better in that regard. None of the players are really wow factors to me outside of Marcos Antonio, but there's some good players in there. And I think, some of the players that left, they are improvements on overall. So I think Lazio is going to be an improved team. Doesn't mean they're going to be improved in the standings because a lot of teams are making some improvements as well. So I think kind of what you're saying, where you're placing them, I agree with you. I think it's going to be a European spot, but not necessarily a Champions League spot that we're talking about with Lazio. And it's no discredit to them. It's just every other team around them is doing so well in terms of the moves they're making and the losses that they're not having. Yeah. That this Lazio team, they're going to be destroying teams that are below them for sure. But when they play the top team, it's going to be difficult. And I don't quite see them jumping over some of these teams. So, outside of top four for sure.
Putting some of these pieces together too, kind of in the vein of Napoli. But I mean, when you got a guy like Charlie Mobley who scores goals for fun sometimes, you're going to be in games. So, so we'll see. I think that they're better. I think in the long run they're better with the reinforcements that they've put in. They've been needing to get rid of Lucas Leiva for a long time now. That's finally happened. But it's everyone around them that has gotten so much better that makes it hard for them to have any more upside. And fifth is going to be, fifth was last season. It was a great achievement. I think fifth is lofty now. So, and one of those teams that seriously on paper massively improved is the team in their city, Roma. I mean, where do you start? It's just what they've done here. The arrivals, small in number, but pretty big in quality. Zeki Celik coming over from Lille for less than $8 million.
Steal.
That's a steal. Paulo Dybala on a free from Juventus. Nemanja Matic on a free from Man United. 33, long in the tooth. But we've seen 30-somethings play really well in this league. Yeah. Miles Vilar, who is going to be he's going to be just some depth there at goalkeeper, coming over on a free from Benfica. And then Jorginho Wijnaldum coming over from PSG on loan. And then it is believed that Andrea Belotti will sign to give them some striker depth. He and Tammy Abraham can rotate at that position. I lamented the departure that they did not redeem Oliveira because I thought he was a wonderful fit for what they were doing. But then when they bring in Matic, they bring in Wijnaldum, they bring in Dybala, you've still got Pellegrini there. Zaniolo is still there. And I could say, well, if Zaniolo leaves, this whole thing about Roma blows up. No, because there's not a whole lot of sample with Zaniolo at Roma to begin with. He blew out his ACL twice. So, so there's, so that's different. That's far different from if Milinkovic-Savic somehow ends up at Juve from Lazio. So plenty to talk about here, Richard. This is a top four team for me. It's Jose Mourinho in his second season. I laid out a very long thread on Twitter about his history in his second season.
Impressive.
At every stop he's made. I mean, just take out the last two places. Manchester United is run so poorly right now. Nobody can seem to succeed there. They just lost to Brighton today.
Yeah.
Eric Ten Hag's got a lot of work to do there, and hopefully they're going to give him the time to do it. And the Tottenham thing just was never a good fit to begin with.
Odd signing.
Yep. So, but every place else he's been, second season, he's won something. He's won something significant. His second season in Serie A at Inter, he won the treble. I've gone on record to say that he is going to win something here at Roma this season. I'm flirting with the idea that he might win the Scudetto. I don't want to get that crazy. I don't want to get that far ahead of myself. I'm still thinking about it, but don't rule that out. He could win the Europa League. He could win the Coppa Italia. But
fair.
I can't rule it out. They're top 4. I'm going to say this about Roma. Of all teams, Roma. How much have we picked on Roma for years, Richard?
A lot.
Roma, just me saying this, top 4 with Scudetto winning upside. I'm saying it now. I'll call it. If everybody else is afraid to do it because it's Roma, I'm going to say it. I look at the squad. If Dybala can stay healthy, if they somehow keep Zaniolo, Pellegrini, I mean, Jose has this team the way he wants it now.
Yeah.
And that's a dangerous thing for the rest of Serie A.
It is. And he's tactically very astute, so he can match the best with Allegri and anybody else, right? Did you see how they played against Shakhtar? They dismantled them today.
Destroyed them.
Pellegrini,
and I had
Dybala,
to look. I was like, are we sure this is Roma? Are we sure this is Roma?
Are we sure this is Mourinho? Everyone said Mourinho's washed up, and if he does, what he's known to do with good teams, look out. Michael Lisi's in the chat. He says, "Say it loud, Frank."
Yeah, Roma's get up, Lisi. We're going to have to get on this. We're going to have to get comfortable with the idea that Roma's a thing and Roma's a contender. This is the season of getting comfortable with getting uncomfortable.
I like that. No, this is a good team. Even if they don't get, yes, you want Dybala to stay healthy. You want Zaniolo to stay healthy if he stays. But this team is so loaded in the middle. They got rid of some dead weight. Obviously, Veratu's gone. Robin Olsen's gone. Officially, Brian Reynolds, and so on and so forth. But this is a really good team, I think, and it can only improve from last year. They got some young players. They got some, important time last year. They're only going to get better. You got this, the young kid on the sideline chomping at the bit, waiting to get into the starting lineup, and it's going to be hard with this team. But this is a good team. It really is, and I'm excited to see what Tammy Abraham can do in his second season after that first season, which was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Roma won something last year. They won the whatever the conference title, whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, they should be in contention for something this year. What that is, I don't know, but they're a good team. They're going to make it lives difficult for the Milanese clubs, for Juventus, for everybody out there. Yeah. So don't discount Roma, and I don't think anybody is at this moment. I think a lot of people are talking high on Roma for a good reason. This Wijnaldum pick is a sleeper. A lot of people know about Wijnaldum, but some people are just like, oh, it's Wijnaldum, whatever. He's still a good player, and he fits what Mourinho likes to do. And Matic, at his age, can still do it. Brozovic is up there in years, and he's still doing it. So at the position that Matic plays, you don't have to be young. Pirlo played until almost 40 years old and playing defensive midfielder, basically. So, yeah, I like what Roma's doing, and I can't add too much to what you're saying because I agree everything with you saying. They're definitely a top 4 contender, if not more.
Mm-hmm. If nobody else wants to say it, we will. Top 4 with upside to win the Scudetto. I dead serious, and we're saying this about Roma.
This is a good point. Lisi says week 3, Juve against Roma. If Roma wins that game, a big game, that is huge.
Yeah.
It'll tell something. Now, if Juve comes out and blasts them, that also says something too.
Yeah.
Early indications are that Roma are cohesive. That's scary for Serie A.
Yep. So let's, I'm not totally ready to commit, and I don't have Roma winning it right now. I got to wait for I'll give you my current top 4 later here in the podcast. But right now, I mean, I've got good vibes about them. So, okay. Now, moving on to another team that we should have some pretty good vibes about, Richard, Fiorentina. In 7th, they're in the Europa League this year. Dodo arriving from Shakhtar, Rolando Mandragora. I really like that signing for them from Juve. I think he can hang his hat at this place. Luka Jovic, we talked about, and then Golini coming over from Atalanta on a loan to give, to help out with the goalkeeper position. Departures: Callejon back in Spain, back at Granada, 35 years old. I don't think there's much to miss there. Pulgar is gone. Back in Brazil, he actually went to Brazil to go to Flamengo. After that, nobody else really of note to get overly concerned about. Lucas Torreira, who was there on loan, went back to Arsenal and is now headed to Galatasaray.
Yeah, with Mertens.
He and Mertens are going there. So Fiorentina, year 2 under Vincenzo Italiano. Some tweaks have to happen. Odriozola is not there, and he went back to his parent club. I believe it was Real Madrid. But they built a foundation for how they did things. They finished 7th. Because the teams in front of them are just so good, it's hard for me to rate them any higher. I think it would be an accomplishment with playing in Europe for Fiorentina to just get back to Europe and get back into the Europa League. Or are they in the Conference League? Is 7th the Conference League?
Yes.
Okay, Conference League, excuse me. I think it would be an accomplishment because of the team we're going to talk about next. It would be an accomplishment for them to just return to Europe. It doesn't matter what place they finish in, but I think that's got to be the goal for Fiorentina. I think with this project with Italiano, with Rocco Commisso as owner, that's got to be the objective here. It's okay, we got there, now let's make sure we can stay there.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the moves that they made. We talked about Jovic already, and obviously Madragora is a boost for them, obviously, and Dodo as well. But yeah, this is good. They really hadn't lost anyone worthy of note, I think, and I think under year 2 under Vincenzo and Italiano, it should be better. But like we talked about with Lazio, the teams in front of them, unfortunately, are that much better, and so it's gonna be hard for them to move up there. And I think while it would be a miraculous feat if they got to Champions League, I don't see it coming. I think a European spot is where you want to aim for. That should be Commisso, like you said, and company's goal this year. If they get into Europa League, that's a victory in itself. If you get Conference League, I think that's a good season. But Europa League would be a very good season, I think, for Fiorentina, considering the teams around them or above them in the table. But it's a good pick. I mean, look out to see what they can do. Is Cabral still going to be there? Did Piontek move on? I don't remember about that, but Jovic, I'm excited about him. I think he can do some things at Fiorentina. Will he adapt to the tactical nature of Serie A? We'll see. Not every player does, but I think he can cook under Italiano. So let's see. Okay. I'm excited about Fiorentina.
We still got Gonzalez over there. Had a great day season at Fiorentina, can provide some service. Sotil was really good. Mm-hmm. So the attack is always going to be dangerous for Fiorentina. Yeah. Milankovic is still there.
For now.
Crazy as it seems, to help anchor the defense. So the pieces are there. That's a reasonable objective. There's no way they're a top 4 with the teams in front of them.
Yeah.
But getting in a position to return to Europe is probably the most sensible. So, and then the last of the ones we're going to do individually, and then we're going to group some of these teams together to keep this moving. Arguably one of the more disappointing teams of the 2021-2022 season, Atalanta. Jeremy Boga's deal is permanent from Sassuolo. Ederson, center midfielder, arriving from Salernitana. Mary Demiral's deal permanent. Ademola Lookman, who we talked about earlier, coming over from RB Leipzig. Lovato experiment was just that, an experiment. He's gone. After that, not a whole lot leaving that they can be disappointed with. Sina leaving for Monza.
Yeah, interesting one there.
But plenty of players and plenty of depth to account for that. This is the team. This is going to be interesting. This goes one of two ways. There's no European distraction. They're dialed in on Serie A. They get back into the top 4. They ruin somebody else's season. Or was last season the beginning of things getting stale under Gasparini? And things have gotten stale under Gasparini in the past through the years. Atalanta's one I'm struggling with right now because on talent, they're a Europa League team 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
But you got to, again, everybody else got better. There's decent pieces here. Their preseason, they haven't had many games. They beat Como 4-0. They lost to Newcastle. They lost to Valencia. We don't buy a whole lot into preseason, but just to kind of give you an idea of, they've given themselves some decent competition to prepare. You take this with Atalanta because I'm not sure what to say. I'm not sure what to make of them right now. I
don't think
know.
anybody is. Honestly, I don't even think Gasperini knows at this point. I mean, I think if Atalanta, without that European distraction, with the talent they have, if they play to their potential like they had in the past, look out. They're going to knock around this top 4, I think, if they play to that potential. Will they? I don't know. Like you, I think last year could be more of a reality than a one-off. They have to prove it to me that they're not the team from last year. They still have talent to score goals. They're going to score goals, but can they stop the goals? Musso struggled last year at times.
That was a surprise.
He's obviously an upgrade from Golini, but it was a surprise for us. And so Atalanta is the wild card in this because they could be a top 4 team if they play at their best without the European distraction, or they could miss out Europe altogether. That's what we have here with Atalanta. It's a Jekyll and Hyde team that we don't know who's going to show up. Depends on when the games start, what happens. But I don't know. It's going to be. This is a difficult team, and I think if you want to bet and try to get some money that maybe they can make in the top 4, that's the team to put in there just in case if you have some money to throw away. But yeah, like you, I don't know, man. This is a difficult pick, and I like the rest of Serie A fans. We don't know where Atalanta's going. They're either going to play really, really well or miss out in Europe altogether. I mean, we'll see. I don't know.
I'm actually going to look up their top 4 odds.
Okay.
Let's take a look. Well, right now these are betting odds for next week's games. Let me see.
Cambiasso and Phil are agreeing with us, by the way.
What's that?
The Cambiasso and Phil are agreeing with us in the sense that Atalanta could be finished. Not the same team that they were before.
Yeah. My problem here is top 4 finish. Okay, here we go. As soon as I can get these pop-up ads out, let's just quick look at this, and then I'll give you my take on Atalanta.
All right. The suspense is killing me, Frank.
Yeah, Bet365.
No one's even betting on Atalanta. That's what it is. You can't find it because no one's like, it's not going to happen top 4. Get out of here.
Sort by name. Okay. Favorite. Come on.
I mean, they've lost nobody really, but it's what you mentioned. It's the stale tactics of Gasperini that's happened in the past.
Has it? Yeah. I mean, that's the question that I want to ask. Have they been found out?
Yeah. And it looked like end of last year they were, right? Under Gasperini in the heydays of Atalanta a few years ago, would that goal by Teo Hernandez happen? Probably not. But,
I can't find it. Actually, I'm trying to.
I'm sure it's long shots to make top 4. With the teams that have been assembled.
They've got Atalanta 2-1 to make top 4.
Wow.
So Bet365 does.
Okay. 2-1.
2-1. By comparison, Milan's 1-4, Juve's 2-11. So I mean, just Inter heavy fit, So yeah, Atalanta's 2-1. I mean, that's not worth throwing a little money at. But
I thought it'd be greater odds, honestly.
Yeah, it's not going to be something I'm going to throw money at. Not something I'm going to throw money at, but if you did, there's worse bets you can make.
Yeah.
I just think I can come up with 4 teams that are going to be better than them this season.
Sure.
For me, Atalanta, it's a combination of things still under Gasperini. Things have been found out okay, the team hasn't been completely freshened. I do, and I say this with saying that I am excited about what Lookman's going to bring to that team.
Sure.
So the defending has to be better. Musa was shocking last year, and which was a huge surprise because he was so good for Udinese.
Yeah.
That's got to fix. There's a lot to be fixed with this team. But yeah, I can't put him higher than some of these guys are saying 6. I don't think I can put him higher than 6 at this point either. So, so that's I think they'll be back in Europe, but I can't quite get them. I can't quite get them any higher than that. I can't get them back. I can't get them back in the Champions League. That's for sure.
Okay. Me neither.
So, I mean, I need to see the defending be better, and then I need to see the goal scoring, as Phil, commented on with Duvan Zapata.
Yeah.
And staying healthy. But what Atalanta does have going for them is no Europe, that they can lock in on this and focus on it.
Yeah.
How much will it help remains to be seen. I don't know if it's going to help as much as it would help, say, if a Lazio was totally locked out of Europe, or if a Roma was totally locked out of Roma in particular, if they were totally locked out of Europe. So those are the top 8, because I think we can probably, with Fiorentina qualifying for Europe, we have to include them. Let's talk about these next 5 teams as a group, Richard.
All right.
Hellas Verona, Torino, Sassuolo, Udinese, Bologna. Give us one out of that group that you think are going to really be a headache for the top 8 that we talked about. Give us one that is not going to finish between 9th and out of that group that's not going to finish between 9th and 13th this year.
I think Udinese is primed to be a jump up in the table from last year. I think they're going to be a nuisance to everybody really? In the league. They showed at the end of last year that they were made lives difficult for teams, right? And Milan sweat at the end of the season, made several teams sweat at the end of the season. I think the talent that they have around them, some good players on that team, and the managers are doing a fantastic job with them. So I think Udinese are poised to make a higher push this year than they had previously. And of the grouping, I think they're going to finish the highest out of all those teams. A team that's poised to drop a lot, especially since there has been no manager move, is Bologna. Sad to say, they're a very talented team, but Arnautovic may be going to England or somewhere. I saw the rumors today, but they just, for whatever reason, under Mihajlovic and maybe his time is worn out, and you can't. It's a hard situation for them too, because Mihajlovic, had cancer under them. He survived. And so you don't want to be prudent and be a dick basically and fire him because he's doing bad. But again, he's doing bad. Their team is not consistent enough, and the players that they have on their team, they should be doing a lot better. They should be a top 10 team, and they're not. And I don't see them this year being a top 10 team or close to that. I think they're going to have a bigger drop off, and then I honestly don't see Mihajlovic lasting all season long. Honestly, it's tough for the ownership there for sure. And Mihajlovic means a lot. He's a great person, but we talked about Gasparini's tactic getting stale. I think Mihajlovic has gone stale there, and we saw the big drop off at the end of the season last year, second half of the season. Bologna kind of just, their play had just went downhill big time, and the players weren't scoring anymore. Arnautovic still doing decent things, but it's going to be difficult for Bologna this year. So I don't know. Where you're
getting hungry there, guy.
I am hungry. I want to feast. How about you?
I'm high on Sassuolo, mainly because Berardi's still there and Ferratesi's still there, and people thought those guys were gone. Hamed Traore's still there. You get Alvarez coming in, who's a suitable enough replacement.
Mm-hmm.
So some of these other guys that are coming in that they feel like Sassuolo players when you take a look at them, right?
Right.
Torstvedt coming over from Genk.
Like that.
Looks very interesting. Henrique coming from Grêmio. This kid from Rosenborg, the Norwegian, Emil Konradsen. This Sassuolo team
could surprise people.
Probably fun bad, like we've been talking about.
Yeah.
But probably more fun.
Okay.
And Dionisi's got a nice little squad here, and keeping the guys that were thought to be gone. I mean, that's insane when you think about it.
Yeah.
And I like Sassuolo to be kind of one of these problem teams for everybody else. As far as the team that I think will struggle, I'm with you on Bologna. I think they're going to be a little bit predictable. The spine of their midfield is gone.
Mm.
I think that there's going to be some problems there.
Yeah.
Hickey was very important to them. He's gone. They replaced him with Ligo Giannis, who, should just be a plug and play guy.
Should be, but
But I can't get excited about it. We talked about how this was getting stale under Mihailovic last season. I don't see what they've done, to get any better. So time will tell. What I will give some honorable mention to, I'm actually going to disagree with you about Udinese. I'm not as high on them as you are, but I also don't think they're going to fall past 13. I think they're still going to be kind of sitting in that 11th, 12th, 13th again.
okay.
I don't think they're going to be losing Molina, having some things shuffled a little bit. I don't think they're the same team. Deulofeu, Success, Beto, the combination of those forwards certainly going to cause some problems.
Yeah.
But they lack some quality and service and guys that can get the ball to them. They're going to be a dedicated counterattack team. They're going to have to be. Yeah. In order to accumulate points, and that's going to be their best way of stealing points from the teams that are going to be ahead of them. But I'd give a nod to Hellas Verona too, that they could be somewhat interesting here.
Henri joined them.
Thomas Henri joining them, basically effectively replacing Caprari.
Yeah.
Who's over at Monza now. So the pieces are still reasonable at Verona to be a thing. So, but if I'm with you on Bologna being the team that falls out of this 9th to 13th position. But I'm high on Sassuolo this year. I seem to be high on them every year, but I'm really high on them this year. I think this Alvarez thing's going to work. Even when they lose Raspadori, if and when they lose Raspadori to Napoli, it just opens the door for more playing time for Alvarez and the talent around him as the service he's going to get. It's going to be good. So look out for them. All right. So that's our 9th to 3rd from last season. Now we go to Empoli, Sampdoria, Spezia, and Salernitana, the 4 remaining returning teams that we haven't talked about. Give me one team that moves up from these positions. One team. I'll actually go first on this. The team that I think moves up on this is Sampdoria. Okay. There's no way they're worse.
Giampaolo.
Yeah, I know, but you got to pick somebody out of this group, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Actually, I'm going to take that back and say Empoli.
Oh, okay.
I like the addition of I was a big Razvan Marin fan last season.
Yes.
And I'll do an honorable mention to Sampdoria, but I'm gonna just for fun, I'm gonna go with Empoli. You've got Marin, you've got Basrami is still there. Okay. You get some other players in here. Stojanovic coming over from Dinamo Zagreb to help out and play right back. Vicario now is permanent as goalkeeper, so that's settled. You do lose Aslani, but you plug him in with Marin, who's probably probably a little bit more of a playmaker, not as good a defender as Aslani.
Mm-hmm.
So you got some dynamics, and I hate to bring it up, but you got Bayrami, you've got Marin. Mattia Destro might be pretty good for this team.
Oh my goodness! We're recording this, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if he is scoring goals for a Genoa that just had no creativity to him whatsoever,
I know.
And now he's got at least 2 playmakers behind him providing him service, and then Stojanovic from the right pumping in crosses. There's at least 10 goals for Destro if he stays fit and he kind of keeps the form that he's been playing with, isn't there? I mean. And an honorable mention to Sampdoria, Juricic coming over there, I think, is a huge help.
Yes.
And in Giampaolo's 4-3-1-2, he's the perfect trequartista, for what, for how they're going to set up. So we'll see how that works. The team that I think falls here, it's hard between Spezia and Salernitana because I think they're both going to be bad this year, but I'll say it's Salernitana. If Cagliari knew how to score goals, Salernitana wouldn't have even been in Serie A right now.
Yeah.
And there's nothing Salernitana is really doing that's getting me excited about their prospects for survival this year. Lovato comes over, helps out a little bit. Okay, but after that, there's not much to get wild about here. So Ederson was a center midfielder that was holding it together for them, and he is now at Atalanta. So I'll go Empoli moving up from these positions, Salernitana probably getting relegated.
Okay, fair. I am going to say I think I'm going to go Sampdoria. Sampdoria, I think they're going to be better this year, even under Giampaolo. Obviously, it depends on how they start and whatnot, but I like the signing of Juricic for sure. They got rid of some. They lost some bodies like Thorsby. Thorsby's going to be a big loss to them. He went to Union Berlin. Yeah. They lost Maya Yoshida, which probably is going to be an upgrade for them, no matter how you want to say it. But some of the
they will be exponentially better defensively now that he's gone.
They should be. But I think Sampdoria can only improve. I really do, and I think Ciccio Caputo has another year under his belt over there. Quagliarella's chugging along. They're going to score some goals, and I think there's enough defensively that they can have enough possession. They're going to keep the ball out of their own net. So I think Sampdoria is poised to be the highest of these teams bunched together. And then I think it's honestly a no-brainer for me who's the worst of this group. I think it's Salernitana. Sad to say, I think we've seen this before with the manager that doesn't always. The team survives and they struggle and they get worse next year and they almost ultimately get relegated. And I don't see enough of Salernitana that they're going to stay up. I honestly don't. I think you're going to have some promoted teams from last year or coming into this year that are going to be chopping at the bit. Monza's done a lot, right? Lecce, they were a fun team to watch last year, and so they're going to make lives difficult for teams like Salernitana and Spezia. Both teams of those teams are going to be fighting for relegation. And I think Salernitana is going to be the worst of that grouping that we just talked about before. And I think it's going to be a year where we see Salernitana exit Serie A finally.
Okay. Then we're in lockstep. I mean, I think Spezia, we'll have to answer the question about Spezia then as it pertains to the three promoted teams. Yeah. Monza, Lecce, and Cremonese enter the fold. And let's talk about their prospects for survival. I think that in Monza, for those who have been living under a rock, they are owned by Silvio Berlusconi, of former Prime Minister of Italy. And,
Bongo fame.
Bunga fame. Also happened to own a club in Milan for well over 30 years and won 5 European Cups during that time. So, and then also his technical director at Milan is his technical director at Monza, Adriano Galliani. Clearly, these two guys don't know how to die.
At least we could say that they're not going to the Scudetto before Milan, at least, so that we can wrap that up.
Are you look? And I mean, we'll talk about these three teams in a second here. But I mean, Monza, when they go to this, I don't know what match week that is when they go to the San Siro, but clearly something's going to be set. The Curva Sud's going to have some kind of brilliant tifo.
Yes.
For B&G, when they make their return. Hopefully. Yeah. They've put behind the banter era and can think about, because hell, the banter,
the glory.
Okay, fine, fell apart. It fell apart, but man, it was awesome when we had it. So, you got to think that something like that is going to be in store when Monza travel to the San Siro, right?
It has to be. They
better. Yeah, they better. So, okay, we're in agreement. Monza's staying up this year.
I think so. I mean, the moves that they have, Cragno, I love Cragno. Velotti is there. Sensi, say what you want to say about him. Pessina, I like Pessina. Birandelli, I like.
Caprari. Yeah, and Samuele Birandelli is the son of Alessandro Birandelli of Juventus fame.
Yeah.
From the 1990s.
Yeah, so I think Monza's staying up for sure. Nothing's for sure, I guess. But if I had to bet between any of the three teams, I'd say Monza has the best chance of staying up.
I'm with you. Mancuso's over there too.
Yeah, he's a good player. Bet you're gonna miss him.
Yep, Pedro Pereira, right midfielder. I mean, they've got a lot of talented pieces. They've really put this together. Ranocchia has a chance to, have one. He's going to bring the experience to this team playing in the back. I mean, he's had some off and on years, particularly, almost all of them with Inter, of course. So there's certainly promise there. They also have a young goal. They signed 3 goalkeepers. Cranio's there on loan. They got Di Gregorio as a backup from Inter, and then Alessandro Sorrentino from PES. Is that the same Sorrentino? Was his dad there at Kiev? Is his dad the goalkeeper from Kievo?
I want to say yes, but I'm not positive.
It's got to be. So it's got to be. So, Andrea Carboni also coming over from Cagliari, young, promising. I mean, decent center back. I mean, he wasn't the source of Cagliari's problems last year.
No.
So there's some. I mean, the way this team is constructed, it's definitely very interesting. It would probably be a massive disappointment if they did not qualify or did not stay up. Marlon also coming over from Shakhtar on a loan to play center back. So this team is constructed in such a way to stay up. Cremonese and Lecce, our friends over there at Lecce.
Yeah.
I mean, what do we say?
I like the pickup of Frabotta, right? I like Colombo over there from Milan on loan. Falcone from Sampdoria I like as well, and Federico Di Francesco as a player, he's had Serie A experience, and so I think they add much needed help to Lecce, a team that was very entertaining last year. We talked to the boys over the Lecce UK, and this team was a pretty good team last year in Serie B. Obviously, this is a different animal in Serie A, but I think they're going to be making life difficult for teams like Salernitana and Spezia, and maybe even Empoli, and who knows. They're going to be a team like ones that trying to stay another year in Serie A, and will it be possible? We'll see. But, if they, based on how they played last year, plus some of the additions they have, I like the moves they made. I do. It's going to be, I think they're going to be one of those teams that's teetering on the line that, could stay, could go. Depends on a lot of things, obviously. But I like the moves they made. Sometimes we see teams that make great moves and never pans out. But, I do think in this instance, Lecce will make it interesting. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I like Lecce's chances better than Cremonese. Cremonese is patched together with veterans who have been underwhelming in Serie A.
Yeah.
We usually see promoted teams do this. We see much of the same there. There's not an amazing amount of wow factor to what Lecce signed, but a lot of serviceable in their signings and in what they can add. So, yeah, I mean, if I have both of them getting relegated. But if I had to pick the one team that had a better chance of surviving over the other, it's Lecce. So I just am not overwhelmed I'm just not wowed by what Cremonese has done here. I expect him to go straight back down.
I agree.
So, man, we covered all 20 teams.
Yeah.
We didn't talk too much about Torino. We just kind of think they're there.
I agree.
Ivan Juric will figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
So, but we kind of think that they're still kind of mired in those positions. Additions aren't great. Departures are certainly a little bit more significant, especially Bremer.
Yeah.
But Pellegrini coming there to be the center forward, and he's certainly going to see a lot more opportunities now that Belotti's headed to Roma. Valentino Lazaro, interesting one coming over on loan from Inter. He's really had a hard time making it work in Serie A after having some decent success at clubs previous. But other than that, yeah, Torino's they're going to be kind of sitting in that 12th, 13th position again. So, so that is our comprehensive preview of each team in Serie A this season. Let's get to a few predictions here, Richard. Let's start with Capocannoniere. Who do you like this year? Who's leading Serie at the end of the season? Who's going to have the most goals in this league?
I would help if I turn my microphone on.
Yeah.
Whew, that's a tough call, honestly. I mean, obviously, Ciro Immobile is going to be someone who's always going to be in the mix, right? We don't know what kind of Lukaku we're going to get. Over Napoli, Osimhen, is he going to stay healthy? Roma, Tammy Abraham, Vlahovic is always someone you could talk about. He didn't have the greatest the second half of the season last year, but he had an excellent first half of the season. Giovanni Simeone, where is he at? I don't know if he's good enough to get the Scudetto, or excuse me, the Capocannoniere. But if I had to pick a guy, I'm going to jump on this Roma bandwagon. I'm going to go Tammy Abraham.
You stole my pick.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I think the team around him is going to feed him, and he's going to get goals and assists, I think, this guy.
Do you think Roma's going to score? I mean, it is Mourinho. Do you think they'll score enough for him to get that many goals?
I mean, if we're looking back, obviously you can't compare this to Real Madrid when he was there, because that team would score for fun. But I think some of that team he can instill in this, where, you go for the cutthroat killer instinct, right? We saw that against Shakhtar Donetsk, putting 5 goals against them. In the games where they get some goals and they're clearly dominating, Mourinho's going to ask them just to destroy the other team. And in other games, he's going to say, let's park the bus and do a defensive masterclass to win this game against a Juve or Milan or whomever. So I think he'll get his opportunities to score goals. I do. And it's going to be some of those games where it's a blowouts, right? But I think the talent is there to service Tammy Abraham. I mean, other than that, it's going to be, I don't know. I mean, who else? I mean, Ciro Immobile is a safe pick, but I don't want to go with the safe pick, right? I can't pick Cristiano Ronaldo. Maybe I can, even though he left the league when I picked him last time. So, yeah, I don't know. I like Tammy Abraham. Osimhen, though, I'm very close to picking him too as well. So,
okay. Well, since you're going to take Tammy Abraham, I'm going to go with the team that scored the most goals last season, Inter. I think they're going to score a lot of goals this season, maybe the most. And I'm going to pick Romelu Lukaku.
Okay.
I think that he's going to be just reinvigorated by returning to Serie. He's already scoring in preseason for Inter. And I expect him to return. I expect him to score a lot of goals this season. I mean, think of the service. I mean, Çalhanoğlu through the middle, Dumfries and Gozens wide, playing off of Lautaro, direct passes from some of the center backs, the 3 center backs. I mean, there's so many different ways Lukaku is going to score goals in this setup. And so Romelu Lukaku is going to be my pick for Capocannoniere this season. So
probably a solid pick there.
Yep. So we'll go that route. I wanted to go with Tammy Abraham, but you took him, so I'll take Lukaku. So
fair enough.
All right. So relegated. Who are your 3 teams going down?
Okay, certainly I'm going to say Cremonese is going to be the worst of the bunch. I'm going to say Salernitana is the second worst of the bunch. Okay. Where I cannot decide is Lecce or Spezia.
Yeah.
I think both teams did enough that I'm intrigued, but I'm still, Spezia, they're Spezia, right? They've been getting worse and worse every year. Their time in Serie A is limited. But has Lecce done enough to surpass them? I like the moves that Spezia done. For now, I'm going to have them over Lecce just slightly, but we'll see how the end of the mercato goes. But I mean, it's those 2 teams are going to be battling out, I think. What about you?
I'm with you on all 3. I got Cremonese, Salernitana, Lecce, Spezia comes down to the last day, and Lecce goes down. Yeah. So Spezia survives ever so slightly, but I would not be surprised if it was Spezia going down and Lecce staying up.
Agreed.
So,
agreed.
So that's where I'm at. Okay, finally, we get to, and now once again we're going to give you the disclaimer. We're allowed to change these picks after the mercato is officially closed because we don't have all of the moves in yet. We don't have all of the deals in yet. But knowing what we know now, give us 1 through 7. So 7's the Conference League, 5 and 6 is the Europa League, 1 through 4 obviously, and then your Scudetto winner.
Okay, you want me to go first?
You go first.
All right, top 7 you said, right?
Yep.
All right, so coming in at number 7 for me as of right now, La Dea, Atalanta. I don't see them doing very well this year. I think last year was a more of a reality than a one-off, and I think Atalanta are going to struggle compared to some of the teams above them. Coming in at number 6, I'm going to go with Lazio. I do like Lazio. I think they've improved, but again, teams in front of them, I think, have done better than they are. And I think going for Champions League will be a stretch for them. So I think Europa League spot for Lazio. Coming in at number 5, for me, I'm going to say Juventus. I am not convinced by Juventus. I think their attacking trio up front is going to be phenomenal. Adding Zaniolo to the mix, if they get Zaniolo, would be phenomenal. Might have some rotation issues there, but the midfield's done nothing for me. That's been proven. Yeah, you got Paul Pogba. What does he have left? To be determined. But no one else has really come in there. Yeah, Wes McKennie has another year under him and some other guys, but they've not really upgraded in the midfield, in my opinion. And defensively, outside of Bremer, they've really done nothing to impress me as well. Bremer's going to be fantastic there. You imagine not having to move his house at all. It's going to be a blessing in disguise there, I guess. Well, I guess he's not going to move. I mean, I guess he would somewhere else in the city. But, yeah, I think Juventus, number 5 for me. Number 4, I'm going to go AS Roma. I like what Roma's doing. I don't like them better than some of the teams that the 3 teams I have left. I think they have a lot of fantastic moves. They've looked really, really fantastic so far in preseason. But it's preseason. You take only so much stock in that. Until Mourinho is knocking out and Roma are knocking out some of these top teams of the Seven Sisters, that's when I'm going to start getting convinced. But as of right now, I got Roma coming in 4th. Number 3, I'm going to Napoli. I'm high on Napoli. You were talking about it earlier. I am very high on Napoli. I think they're going under the radar. You talk about Inter going under the radar at the moment. I think Napoli's going under the radar with some of the moves they made. We'll see if they get some of the guys that they're reaching for, Raspadori or Simeone. But as of right now, I like what this team has assembled. There are some question marks for sure. Even if Ruiz leaves, the wing backs, especially the left back situation going on. I mean, Di Lorenzo's the captain. You got a couple solid backups outside of Kim in terms of defense. So I think Napoli's going to be dangerous this year. I think Osimhen another year under Spalletti will have a chance to get a lot of goals this year if he can stay healthy. Right now, number 2, I'm going to defending champions Milan, AC Milan. Compared to all the rivals, they made the least amount of moves. Now, the moves haven't been bad, right? Charles de Ketelare, he's a fantastic pickup there, and some of the other little Origi's a nice pickup as well. But I expect more out of Milan, and we'll see. There's still plenty of time. There's 23 days left in the or 24 days left in the mercato, or even longer. I don't know how long it is. But as of right now, I don't think they're quite there. I think Inter has to be the Scudetto favorite at the moment. You mentioned earlier they're flying under the radar, I think Lukaku can return to what he was. Maybe not quite at that level, but he's going to be better than he was at Chelsea, I think. And so I think, despite Lukaku, I think some of these other pieces that they had, Henry Mkhitaryan in addition, and some of these other guys, Gosens getting the opportunity now to play more games. They're going to be a tough team to beat. And so Inter are my Scudetto favorites at this moment. But things could change by the end of the Mercato.
Interesting stuff. I think we have the same 7 teams, so we both agree that Fiorentina will probably not
just miss. 8th for me.
Miss 8th for me as well. I've got Sassuolo 9th. I've got Hellas Verona 10th.
I got Udinese 9th.
Okay, there you go. Going to 7th, I'm going with Lazio. At the 7th position, they'll make the Conference League next season. I don't think – yeah, there's a couple of changes. It's interesting, but I don't think they've done enough. Okay, 6th, I've got Atalanta. I think there's something to be said about not having Europe this season to be able to give you some kind of momentum and things going forward. But as a team that's kind of been found out under Gasparini a little bit too, that probably curbs their upside. And it's also their upward mobility, and then it's also as a result of the teams that are ahead of them that have all gotten better to some degree. So I have Napoli 5th. Okay, I'm not with you on Napoli. I'm rating them a little bit lower. I'm not totally there. Like I said, you don't get better by losing Koulibaly. You don't get better by losing. I don't care who you bring in. You don't get better by potentially losing Ruiz. And then some of the nucleus that's been there. I think that they're going to start slow. They're going to drop a lot of points, and that I think they're going to get on some kind of run. They're going to get to 5th. I don't think they're going to be in contention for 4th on the last day. It's going to be one of those where they're going to miss out, but they're still going to keep their momentum going and have this. It's a regroup to be a springboard for something special in the 23-24 season. is where I look at Napoli right now. For fourth, I have Juventus. I think they just find a way to get back in there. Third, I have Milan. I think that there's going to be a combination.
okay.
I think the combination of this season, navigating it, and Champions League, and making more of an ambition out of that. I think the distractions are just enough there.
I agree with you. If they have any kind of chance, if they think they have any chance at Champions League, I think they'll get rid of the Scudetto hopes and go for Champions League, because we talk about teams that go for these kind of titles. Real Madrid, Milan, Liverpool. These are teams that want that title as opposed to the league title. The league title is nice, it's great.
Yep.
But Champions League's their DNA. But anyway, I agree.
Yep. So I think that the combination of those things, I think, kind of curb their potential for Scudetto. I think they're every bit as good as anybody in Serie A. Don't get me wrong, but I think that now you get a lot of these young guys dealing with a bunch of fixtures. I think this gets a little bit different than the path that they had last year. So let's also not forget they won this title last season on the last day. Okay, and in part because of blunders from a backup goalkeeper for the team that they were fighting for the title with. So, you got to kind of take a lot of that into perspective and see how the fine details of how Milan won this title last year. I've got Roma second. I believe in them that much right now. Everything seems to just be adding up for me. By the end of the mercato, I may have them winning this whole thing.
Wow.
They're the one team that's dealing with Europa League. They may decide, hey, this isn't a priority if we think we can win the Scudetto.
Sure.
And they may put their focus into that. I think Jose seems like he's reinvigorated here and has reinvigorated his career. Yeah. The talent is there. Yeah. Dybala, if he can stay healthy, I think we can see an elevation to his game. The pressure of being the number 10 at Juve is not on his shoulders anymore. Some of the other players around him, he can be a part instead of being the man. I really feel like Jose has this team set up to be the kind of team he wants to manage. And I think Inter are the favorites. And I've got them winning the Scudetto. I think they get back on top. I think Simone Inzaghi finally gets to, much like Stefano Pioli last year, Simone Inzaghi finally gets to lift that trophy this year. The return of Lukaku is significant.
Yep.
Robin Gosens is more of a natural left wing back, as good as Ivan Perisic was at that position. You've got somebody a little more natural there. The additions are good. I see them winning this Scudetto and getting back on top again. They narrowly lost it last year. Yeah. They narrowly finished second last year. Let's not forget that. So that's where I'm at. So Inter, Roma, Milan, Juve is 1 through 4 for me. Napoli 5th, Atalanta 6th, Lazio 7th, Fiorentina just missing out.
Yeah, and the only ones we are Roma and Napoli. I think we're the ones that were 2 off, but everybody else were like 1 off, or like this is small changes. Yes. So we're pretty much on top. And like I said, relegation was pretty much on point too. So
really close. So everybody's Capocannoniere. Who gets relegated? Who finishes top 4? Who makes the rest of the European places? Talk to us at Serie Sitdown on Twitter or Instagram. Give us your predictions. So before we move on to the world's most popular hashtag game, I do want to take a moment, Richard, to recognize a faithful follower and past guest of Serie Sitdown, our own, well, not our own, but Sabrina Belmonte. Our congratulations if you're listening.
Yes, Aguri.
On she gave birth. She and her husband welcomed their son last month.
Mm-hmm.
Luca, I believe his name is. So. Yeah. I wanted to make mention of that and offer our congratulations, our best wishes, and good luck with the sleep over the next several months. So
I'll be right there.
Yeah, you're going to be there soon.
Yeah.
So we did want to point that out.
Yes.
So, all right. So, Asan Lewis saying Milan won the league on their own merit last season. Okay, fine, but you also got to look at the things that happened around them that helped them get there. I mean, they did win it on the last day, first and foremost. Okay, they were helped by Inter losing at Bologna and on a bad goalkeeping error. I mean, there are fine details. I'm not discrediting Milan winning the Scudetto. I'm a Milan fan. I cried when they lifted the trophy. Okay, but I'm also trying to take a step back and say what factors kind of helped them get there. Not having to deal with Europe, that's huge. I mean, it helped Inter the year before. Okay, the Inter loss at Bologna was significant. It set the tone for Milan to take the lead and keep it. Yeah, they won it on their own. I'm not fighting that, not one bit. But you do have to kind of weigh in some things that happened outside of what Milan can control to help them get there. You do that with any champion that wins a Scudetto or wins any league. You're quiet, Richard. You're disagreeing with me.
No. I agree. I agree 100%. I got nothing to add to it. That's why I'm keeping quiet.
Okay, you don't have to disagree or agree.
But I agree at this point. I have my second, not third, but
Yeah. No, and Hassan, you're making excellent points. I agree with everything you're saying. I'm pointing out other things that kind of helped. Yeah. If you're going to win a title of any kind, the ball, there's a lot of things that you can control, which Milan did, but there are a lot of other things within the environment where the ball has to bounce your way for you. So, and in this case, I'm pointing out a few things that helped Milan get there.
And this is based off the mercato as is right now. Things could change dramatically for all of our picks by the end of the mercato, and that's when we make our final selection. So, very well could have Milan winning this as good as favorites, Roma as good as favorites, not Atalanta, but it could be a lot of changes here happening in the next 24, 25 days here of the mercato season. So a long way to go. It's a lot of good teams here. I do think, and we talked about this before the podcast, Frank, that we do think this year will be a lot closer than last year. Last year was a fantastic season, one of the better ones in a long time. And I think it'll be better this year because all the good teams are so good. And then you got other teams like Roma and everybody else has gotten so much better. Inter's even gotten better. So it's going to be that much closer of a league. I thought last year that it would come down to 15 points in the top 7, and it been a little bit more than that. And I think this year it could go again. It'll be a very, very tight league this year.
Calcio card saying, what's the odds that Dybala stays healthy and no way Roma has a top 4 defense? Okay, yeah, there is the health thing with Dybala. There's no question about it. But, okay, fine. Roma doesn't have a top 4 defense, but they conceded 43 goals in the league last season, which was 6th best. So
that's Mourinho ball.
Another year under Mourinho, another year with those tactics, and another year of improvement. And I look at their defense and players like Mancini, Kumbula, Rui Patricio in goal, and now you probably have Matic might arguably be a much better back 4 protector than Roma has had in the last 2 to 3 years. So, for sure. So, I mean, those are some things that I'm high on. So, yeah, I mean, they 6th best in terms of goals conceded last season. The top 4 all conceded less, and Torino conceded less, but only by a couple of goals. So after that, it's Roma in 6th on goals allowed last season. So, and with the pieces that are there, they can be better. So, Hassan saying Milan should be in the top 2 teams this year. You can make the argument for Inter, Roma, Milan, Juve, any of those 4 being top 2 right now. And if you ask Richard, if you ask Richard, maybe Napoli.
Yeah.
Okay.
Milan's 2nd for me right now, and I don't have Roma in the top 4. So I mean, you can go. There's a lot of good teams right now. So long way to go.
Yeah. I love Milan, but I just, like I said, I think they're going to be in the knockout stages of the Champions League. I've got these Milan guys are coming after me. Guys, I support Milan. I've been supporting Milan for over 30 years, almost 35. Okay. I understand. I get it. All right. But sometimes you have to, this is also a Serie A podcast, and I can't just be pro Milan all the time.
Inter fans are saying the same thing last year when we said Milan were going to win the Scudetto, and Inter fans are like, what are you talking about? We're the best team. So it's all right. It's fair.
Yeah.
They all make good points.
Yeah, right now this is where I see it. I think that Roma can ever so slightly edge Milan, but the the point differential. Nobody's going to run away with this thing again. It's going to
I
come
agree.
down to the last day
I think it'd
again.
be tight for the whole
All of
top
these places
7.
are going to come down to the last days.
Yeah. Like,
That's
I
how
like
the
what
season
Milan's
we're going
doing.
to have.
And I think Milan can make some big moves here. They're going to jump to favorites for me, but they really haven't lost anybody. I like what Milan is doing right now, and they're definitely a closer team, even closer than they were last year. And having Simon Kjaer back is huge for the team defensively. And I like you said earlier, I don't think they missed out losing Botman, right? The Kjaer's there. He's fantastic. Kalulu is fantastic. I mean, him and Tomori, and we'll see. There's still time. Who knows who they can bring in? So
Newcastle didn't even play Botman on Saturday. They played Shar and Byrne in the back.
Yeah.
Nicholas, are you talking about Milan? Look at the decisions. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing, the Spezia decision.
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming he supports Milan. Yeah, the Spezia decision. That's another. I mean, that could have cost Milan the title too.
Yeah.
So you take that decision away, and Milan win the title by 4 points. I think, is it 4 points?
Yeah.
So if they get that, Milan win the title by 4 points, and it's it's not a thing. So I get it, guys. But I'm looking ahead to this season. I'm looking into what the teams have done. I'm trying to be objective as somebody that analyzes Serie A. So, and right now, as good, and I believe Milan are going to be damn good again. But I also think Roma and Inter are going to be damn good too. And so is I think Juve is going to be good in the way that they're good, and it's that. So, and like I said, the mercato will close, and I could change my mind. And I gave that disclaimer. So I think they're just trying to sell me on having them win the title.
That's fine. So. I have them second, so I have them going after you, not me. So it's all right.
All right. So, thoughts on Zlatan and Giroud's leadership contributions?
Immense.
Yeah, incredible.
Immense. I think the main reason Milan won the Scudetto last year and finished second place the year before is because guys like Zlatan and last year Giroud and Kjaer, these guys who've been around forever, who've won before, they can keep these young guys who are hungry but have not had that experience, keeps them level-headed and focused. While Zlatan did 2 years ago, he kept all attention on him, so that the young guys didn't have to deal with it. They didn't have to deal with the interviews. Zlatan just talks. Look at me. Everybody else can just focus on their job. And Giroud just goes ahead and does his job every single week. The leadership aspect of a team is it's not talked about enough, honestly. If you look at any team that's won the title, it's because they have strong leadership in the locker room and on the field. And Milan has it with guys like Giroud, Kjaer, Zlatan. Whether they play or not, being in the locker room is enough. I mean, those are Pioli's guys. When he's not on the pitch, he can't be on the pitch with them. The players are going to be the ones holding those teams together, especially when the times get tough. Their leadership is so important. You can say with any of these top teams that have that leadership experience, that's why they kept Chiellini for so long. Not only that he's good enough, but his leadership experience for Juventus keeps him in focus in those tight games when things are going against you, keep the waters calm so they can prevail potentially. So, yeah, they're massive, I think.
Yep. One last quote. Looks like is Juve missing it? No, I have Juve making. I have Juve fourth. Richard has Juve fifth.
Yeah.
Calcio cards. What's the biggest realistic transfer move that could still happen with one of the big clubs? I think that there's still Raspadori possibly going to Napoli from Sassuolo. There were whispers about Milinkovic-Savic going from Lazio to Juve.
Zaniolo possibly Juve.
I don't know if they're going. Those are getting legs. Zaniolo to Juve. I've seen Zaniolo to Tottenham. Zaniolo to everywhere but where he currently is.
I think Milan will sign another player or two before the end of the market. Of note,
I think that Ziyech remains really realistic for Milan.
Yep. Or a defender.
So a defender, do you think? I mean, I think they're going to be set. I think they're, another central defender. And it's going to probably be, but if they do it, it's going to be a depth signing.
Like Ndika, yeah. A guy like Ndika or some of those guys you were talking about. Absolutely.
So I think that those are some of the likely scenarios. I think Roma's done. I think they're set. I think that Inter's done. Inter's been set for a while.
CR7 to Monza.
Well, he's not going to Napoli. So
No.
We'll see. All right, so those are the thoughts there. Let's move on now to the world's most popular hashtag game. Who won? Calcio Twitter. This is the Summer Championship. Richard, take it away.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, here we go. Starting things off. We're going way back to June 28th. It's Saeed dead inside. It's exclusive. Romelu Lukaku just landed in Milano Medical. The reason this is funny is because this video isn't of this summer. This is from 2 years ago when Lukaku joined Inter Milan. And he used this, and this had so many follows and likes and comments. They're like, oh my God, he's here. It's like, this is an old video, guys. Come on. What are you doing? Get your shit together. The fact that he fooled so many people, I think this is awesome tweet. Awesome tweet.
Wonderful. Wonderful. A past winner, Kier Palulu at Alessio 7. I can open this thing up.
I don't think it works.
Official statement, Paolo Maldini and Federic Massara.
He was faking everybody out. I forgot what the comment said. I don't even think it still works anymore. Let me see if I click the link. It was just basically trying to fool everybody that they had signed, I think, Renato Sanchez and some of these other people, but in fact they haven't.
Yeah.
And he got a lot of people think too.
Yep. Okay. Don Totti back in our lives. Richard, take it away.
Don Totti says, now he's called fan of no one. Anyway, he says, Cristiano Ronaldo is considering retirement after Jorge Mendes informed him that the only offer he has left on the table is from Napoli. Per Sky, 2 wise.
Nice. Saturnian always comes through with a good one. This is after Kessie left to go to Barcelona. Kessie in the El Clasico seeing Valverde, Casemiro, and Camavinga on him instead of some accountants from Napoli.
Sad but true.
That is the leader in the clubhouse currently, I think.
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right.
Oh, I guess his brother Perisnich is in the house with one now, isn't he?
All right, but this Perisic coming in and says Dybala and Appiano Gentile highlights. It's a workout machine moving by itself. No one in there.
Oh goodness,
the brothers bringing it.
Okay, at O Profondo, Claudio Paulo Dybala, quote, "If I score against Inter, I will not celebrate out of respect for the days I spent with them in Photoshop."
Amid his signing to Roma, yeah, that's good. Let's see. Where are we at now? Okay, next is Nicholas Di Giovanni. Headlines from the top Italian teams this summer so far. Juventus signed Pogba, Di Maria, Bremer. Inter kept Skriniar, brought back Lukaku. Roma signed Dybala. AC Milan. Man City copied their shirt design.
Right.
That's good.
So now moving on, Milan Club of DC. This is Dominic Cummings. What is the best accounts to follow in Italian bonds/bank problems?
Where are you?
And Gary Neville is saying Inter.
Wait, what? What's the best accounts to follow in Italian bonds and bank problems? Inter. Gary Neville.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Gary Neville coming through with a with a funny.
You skip one. Derek Favretto. He had a tweet. It said the Ketelar to AC Milan transfer timeline and photos. So started as a youngster, get a little bit older, and then now he's old. By the time we get him, but obviously Milan eventually got him. So this is before they signed Charles de Ketelar.
Okay. The Big Show always coming through. We might have had our tweet of the season last year.
Just Juve dancing at the pool with the news that he
at G just Juve today after watching Juve not lose to Barca for once. That is frightening.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
We have a new leader in the clubhouse, I think.
We do. Well, I blocked
Nerazzurri we didn't do this at the end of last season, but I think his Napoli tweet last year was the tweet of the season.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. All right, moving on to Ninja di Milano, live, Casa Milano, waiting for the smoke for the Di Catalare sign. Like the Pope.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. At Francescalcio, these poor people were waiting for Berardi to leave Sassuolo.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's close. It's between
good.
him and Nerazzurri. It's between him and Big Show.
All right, this one comes from Presidente.
Presidente.
Imagine aspiring to be a sports journalist and your career ends up being making tweets about transfers every day. That's like wanting to become a mechanic and all you do is change the car tires.
Hey, all right.
All right.
Let's see here.
Oh my God. Juventus
FC English at 100 Thieves, Juve on the road. Nima saying, admitting one's faults is the first step to rectifying them. Well done.
100 Thieves. Oh, Juve. Oh, Juve. All right. This one comes from the Big Show again. It's the Ligt Juve career. Flat on your face. Oh, poor Ligt.
Big Show agrees with me.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right. Well, this came from Venezia FC's English website. Greed and stupidity chipping away at the game's soul has no end. But here's a special edition from Serie B. We're not allowed to share match highlights until 8 days later. Is that really going to happen?
Yeah.
By which time we'll have already played another match. We delve into the logic, but there is none.
They continue on, say, our season kicks off in 2 weeks. Venezia Genoa at Stadio Penso on 14th of August. We'll get around to showing you what happened maybe in September. No stress. We're going to keep tweeting about this all season until drive these people crazy. So strap in. So they got an honorable victory for that.
All right. at D2NIIL. It's a Family Guy spoof.
Just a repeat. So basically, it's Inter showing up with Perisic, and then no, he's gone. And then Dybala, and then no, he's at Roma. And what was the last one? There was one more. Bremer, and he goes to Juventus. Milan is like, phew. Big Show, he's got it in today. Big Show says it's a picture of a guy with an Inter shirt on. He says, "You did it, man. You made it out of Chelsea." Referring to this guy as Lukaku. Oh, he wants that win, doesn't he?
He wants that summer championship.
Okay. That's it. That's it. That's all of them.
Is that it?
Yeah.
All right. So, oh gosh, where are we going?
Oh man, some good ones. The Said one where he faked everybody out with Lukaku with the 2 years old video was good, very good. The Cristiano Ronaldo retirement thing with Napoli is good. Kessie's good.
Man,
I'm going to give Big Show his first win with this Just Juve dancing at the poolside.
Well, no, he had the tweet of the season with the Napoli one.
Oh, right.
Is he just on a roll here? Is he putting on a clinic on how to do this?
Clinic, yeah.
All right. Oh my goodness! All right.
I can't stop this now. I can turn it off.
The man can't be stopped.
Is that your selection too?
Yeah, that is my selection. I'll go with it.
Anthony says the Big Show as well. Take this off our screens. Hide our eyes. Hi, Just Juve. Hope you're doing well. Oh, that's a wrap. Preview della Madonnina over.
Yes.
We made our selections. We're pretty much on spot on our choices here. You know, one or two spots here there, but for overall, we're pretty much in agreement here. So can't wait for the season to start next weekend. Gonna be exciting season, Frank.
Yeah, it's going to be a great season. Everything's coming down. All of these things are going to come down to the last weeks again. It's going to be exciting from week to week. There's going to be drama we're going to be talking about something fresh every week. That's the beauty of this league. So we're really looking forward to it. Camalasso, thank you. Chad, thank you. Let's put a bow on this edition of Serie Sitdown. Richard, anything to shamelessly plug?
Shout out to the Milan Weekly Podcast for having me on, and not too long ago, as well as the Calcio guys. Shout out to the Calcio guys just because they're good guys, and also the Calcio Connection. I was on with them not too long ago as well. So Yeah, and shout out to everyone in the chat. You guys brought it today. A lot of people for opening preseason weekend, I guess you want to call it. But yeah, excited for the season start, man.
Yep. I am at FTC_21, and that is the only place you're going to find me. So I will come out with random threads. I got it right this time. Look at shaking off the rust.
That's right.
I will be coming out with random threads about Serie A throughout the season on Twitter, so check me out there with opinions and things like that. So give me a follow there. At Serie A Sitdown, Twitter, Instagram. We can also be found on Facebook. Serie A Sitdown is a podcast of World Football Index. We have our own channel on Apple Podcasts, on SoundCloud. You can find us on Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and other places where podcasts are played. So please be sure to check us out in any of those spaces. I want to take the time to thank everybody in the chat. It was unbelievably lively today. They're as fired up as we are for this upcoming season. It kicks off Saturday?
I believe Saturday, yes.
Okay. It kicks off Saturday with Milan and Udinese. Let's check it out. Yes, the opening game, Milan Udinese, Sampdoria Atalanta at 11:30. That's 12:30 East. Inter at Lecce, Monza hosting Torino, 2:45 East. That's on Saturday. The Sunday schedule on the 14th. 4 more games. Fiorentina hosting Cremonese, Lazio hosting Bologna, Roma travel to Salernitana, Spezia hosting Empoli, and then on the 15th, 2 games. Hellas Verona hosting Napoli, and then it wraps up with Juventus hosting Sassuolo. We will be back with you next Sunday night, Richard.
Sounds good.
Let's do it. So thank you all again. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more of us, please hit the subscribe button, drop a like. Helps us out big time. And for Richard, I'm Frank. And as we have been saying for 6 years and are going to say for a 7th, be sure you're telling your paisans about us. Ciao.